Why are you passionate about brain health? What's the story behind that for yourself?
Well, for one thing, Nathan, obviously my background and my training in health sciences and health promotion and exercise physiology, I'm passionate about helping people take care of their bodies and take care of themselves through preventive health. But more personally, my grandfather passed away from Alzheimer's disease on my father's side, and my great-grandfather passed from undiagnosed dementia type on my mother's side. So brain health is dear to my heart for my own personal family, as well as just for academic reasons that I enjoy really helping and caring and nurturing other people towards taking care of their brain as well.
Okay. So it's close to home. I'm just curious, are you personally doing anything for yourself to stay brain healthy? Do you have any particular habits that you've incorporated into your life? What do you personally do to stay brain healthy?
Absolutely, Nathan. I have a whole checklist, so I hope you got lots of time. I definitely start every day by trying to exercise and stay active. Some days that's swimming, some days that's jogging, some days that's walking, some days that's yoga. But I try to make sure that every day I find an opportunity to stay physically active. And sometimes that means I have to steal little minutes throughout the day in between activities on those particularly busy days. So I'm even known for the person who parks at the far corner of the parking lot and walks all the way in, or who's pacing up and down the halls on a phone call just to try to get in a few more steps. I also really try to be conscious about what I eat. At our house, we eat whole foods. We try to stick with things that are going to be minimally processed, low in sugar. So I'm very passionate about food and nutrition and making sure that food tastes really good, but is also really good for you.
Nice.
In addition, I really try to employ stress management techniques. I think that that's really important for people to give themselves a quiet moment to take a brain break and a stress break throughout their day, because if not, life can build up on you. So I try to, again, do yoga. Sometimes I just will do, just sit and quietly and look outside at nature. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast or an app on progressive muscular relaxation, or even a sleep story, different things to just kind of unwind and relax. And some days it's as simple as a hot cup of tea sitting in front of a window. And then also, really always trying to keep my brain engaged, whether that be going to theater or concerts with my children and my family, doing art. I will say that when I do art with my kids, it's definitely about the process for me and not the product. I'm not a natural artist, but I sure enjoy just, doing things to keep my brain and my hands active. Learning foreign languages. Our family is always working on our Spanish. So I like to use apps for that. And reading and just, anything that I can do to kind of keep my brain engaged and active. I've known for taking classes online. My family will laugh to wonder what I'm taking now. What am I learning? Because I just think it's important to always be in that process of challenging our brain and continuing to learn.
Do you find that enjoyable, or is it just something you do because you're passionate about brain health?
I find it really actually enjoyable. There's so much in the world to learn and to know about that, honestly, I probably would have gone to school forever if I had the opportunity. Everything I come across, I think, wow, I wonder, what else I could learn about that. It helps, having young children in your life, because you're exposed to all the questions that they have. The other day, my daughter asked me about why were clouds white, and why did water droplets accumulate the way they did, and how did that form the different cloud structures? And so, we had to go do a deep dive and learn a whole bunch about clouds. And so their curiosity helps me to pique my own curiosity.
So on the same subject, just in brain health in general, and maybe especially movement, you mentioned a lot of stuff from yoga to walking and running. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying now that sitting is the new smoking, or the next smoking. And for example, the other day I downloaded one of these apps that reminds you every 30 minutes to get up and get your eyes off your screen, or move around, do a few jumping jacks. Do you have any recommendations for that?
I do. One of the things I especially find in folks who are in retirement age, talking with my own parents about this even, and also just anybody of any age, the tendency to spend a lot of time sitting, whether that's at work or whether that's at home binge watching shows or those things, is if it's a TV situation, every time, if you're actually watching live TV, every time a commercial comes on, get up and get off the chairs. Like, go get a glass of water, go use the restroom, just walk up and down the stairs or around your house a few times. But that's a great way to stay active when you're sitting for television. If you're at work, set an alarm on your phone that rings every 30 minutes and just, literally stand up, go get a glass of water, go use the restroom, but do something where you move for a few minutes. And then I also really am a big fan of, if you have a phone call that you can take while moving, do so. So it helps you a lot of times focus in on what the person is speaking about, because you're not distracted by all the things going around you in the office or in your house. So I really like to do, my father calls them pacing calls. He once teased me that I was going to have a path worn in the carpet in our house. So I am notorious for, walking in circles when I'm on a phone call, or if I can, going outside and, just walking up and down the block or whatever. Because, I really do. I feel it's important to stay active. And for most of us in our jobs, unfortunately, we're stuck with computers and to a computer for the majority of the day. So getting your eyes off the computer, taking a break from the blue light, trying to get some natural light if you can, is important.
And these things I feel like I've heard and seen a lot of different articles out there, people mentioning these things. They seem like good advice for anybody. Why is it particularly good advice for anybody who's potentially dealing with Alzheimer's?
Well, yes, it is. It's good advice for any of us to make sure that we take care of our bodies and our brains. But somebody who's at risk for or already experiencing cognitive impairment or cognitive decline, whether that's the early stages before Alzheimer's or they're into an Alzheimer's or other dementia diagnosis, the more we can do to take care of our brain and to challenge our brain and to keep, like, for example, with movement, keep oxygen supply and things happening to our brain, the better we are able to care for brain health. And so in a person who's experiencing Alzheimer's or cognitive decline, potentially able to slow that decline. It's not a cure for Alzheimer's disease, but it is an ability to slow the rate of progression and hopefully give that person more cognitively healthy, whether that's days, months, weeks, or years. I think, anybody who's had a family member who has experienced Alzheimer's, watching my grandfather, I would argue that every day that we got with him where his cognitive health was better was a blessing and a gift. So the more you can do to protect your brain health and to care for it, even if you already have an Alzheimer's diagnosis, it's not going to necessarily cure it, but it will really hopefully add additional years of quality to that lifespan.
Right. Yeah, the more you know, and if all the things you mentioned, well, maybe except for the exception of yoga, I'm not very flexible. Just sound like fun additions to life, anyhow, right? From puzzles, right. I love chess. For example, and just that act of puzzling through a problem spatially, I feel like keeps my brain engaged. Let's transition to Thanksgiving and the holidays.
Yes.
Woo! Thanksgiving and the holidays.
It's upon us.
Do you have any ideas for Thanksgiving and brain health? How to it? I think of what's the drug you get from turkey that makes you sleepy?
Oh, the tryptophan.
Tryptophan. I don't know. I don't usually think of tryptophan and brain health, but do you have any ideas for us for how to have a brain healthy Thanksgiving?
I do. One of the things that when you say Thanksgiving, most people think of overeating, tryptophan, parades, football games. Come on. Probably a family scuffle or argument at some point in there, just from lots of people in a confined space. And then a lot of laughter and fun and joy that comes right after it. So, one of the things that I like to say to people is, try to reframe some of those ideas. It doesn't mean those are your only traditions, or you don't have to get rid of those traditions. And so, one of the things that we like to try to do with our Thanksgiving at our family is give everybody a little bit of space for themselves and time for themselves. So we actually start our Thanksgiving morning with each of us doing our own thing that makes us happy. So I, for example, go out and exercise first thing in the morning. We have breakfast together, and then I leave and go for a run or go to a Thanksgiving fitness class. there's a Zumba class locally that they'll have an hour and a half one on Thanksgiving morning that sometimes I'll go to. But we take a quiet moment for ourselves so that we're all in the great headspace and so much more excited to be together because we've had our little personal space. So I encourage people to think about busy holiday days to take even 20 minutes alone and just give themselves a little bit of quiet time. But if you can start the morning with exercise, that's a great thing because then as the day goes on, you don't have to worry quite as much about the things that you eat or the quantities you eat that come in front of you.
Would a cousin's Nerf gun war count as exercise in your opinion?
Absolutely. That was going to be the next thing I was going to say is try to figure out how to have fun and be active. And so that is also one of our favorites at our house is a family Nerf gun war. The kids get very excited about that, especially when, parents and grandparents are running around with Nerf guns. So Nerf gun wars are great. Nature scavenger hunts. There's lots of good ones online. I think I'll try to put one on Facebook this week, in fact, for people where you can print them off and get everybody active as a family and go outside. And it's, a sheet of paper with things you're supposed to find together in nature to get you walking around the neighborhood or the park. Those are great things to do. Building a puzzle together, playing games together. There's so many card games that people of all ages and abilities can play together. Just do something where people are engaged. It's also a really good time to talk to your family about health. One of the things we started several years ago was we did a family health discussion at Thanksgiving and filled out a family health history questionnaire because when you get everybody together, you can talk about the things that maybe not everyone remembers about grandparents or cousins and siblings. And so you can gather that genealogy data, if you will, on everybody's health and get that in one place. And it's, it can be really important to have. And it's such a gift to be able to give to your children so they can have for themselves. Because when you go into a doctor's office, one of the things they're going to say is you have a set of symptoms and they're going to look at that and they're going to, for example, having, some skin issues, some GI distress, and maybe some joint pain can be symbolic of lots of different things, or having some memory problems, but also some abdominal pain. Those can be symbolic of different things. And so if there's a family history of, for example, urinary tract infections or kidney disease or those things, they might start looking there with memory loss and abdominal pain instead of other directions. So having that family history question filled out and being able to pass on to your kids so they have information about their parents and their grandparents is a great thing. And it also starts actually some really fun conversations. It sounds like a serious topic.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, that's
take
surprising.
people down some fun memory lanes of talking about, Aunt Edna and the silly things that she used to do, or grandma's favorite, recipe for some dessert she made that maybe wasn't the best for us, but boy, did it taste good, or, different things like that. So that's also a thing that I encourage. And then cooking.
I was hoping you were going to go there when you mentioned grandma's recipes. I know you're a foodie yourself. So how about some Thanksgiving food ideas? Do you have any of those?
I do. I have some favorite recipes that I can pass along maybe this next week and get shared with people of what we cook for Thanksgiving. So, I've tried to take some of the typical Thanksgiving favorites and make them in a more healthy way so that they are better for our brains, better for our bodies, but also amazing for our taste buds.
So I want you to share some of yours, but I'm going to pose a question to any of our Facebook Live viewers or YouTube Live viewers. What is one of your favorite Thanksgiving recipes? It can be brain healthy or not. We just want to know what is one of your must-be in Thanksgiving recipes. So leave that in the comments. We'd love to know what your favorite Thanksgiving recipe is. And back to you, Dr. Hardy.
I have to ask you, Nathan. What's yours? What's your favorite?
Oh man. Oh, well, my wife recently gave me a smoker, and I smoked the turkey last year, and I have to say that was delicious. So I'm going to go with that, followed a close second by the whole green bean casserole thing with the crunchy. I know. So it's so passé, but the green bean casserole, man, my aunts from Idaho make a killer green bean casserole.
I have to say, I have in my brain healthy recipes, I have a redo on the brain.
You do?
The brain healthy way to make the green bean casserole. So I make like the cream of mushroom soup basically from scratch.
Okay.
So you get rid of some of the preservatives and the other things that are in there. My son, green bean casserole is one of his very favorite Thanksgiving foods. And when he had to switch his diet up for health reasons, that was one of the things he was worried about. And he has voted that the green bean casserole I make now is actually better than the original that we used to do. So
really?
yeah. So I don't know. You'll have to, if you have a chance, maybe try it out and see what you think.
Okay, so I'm gonna include a link to the recipes, but I want to hear maybe one more from you, direct from you. But we'll definitely include a link to some brain healthy Thanksgiving recipes.
Yeah,
and we'll put that in the description so people can check that out. What else though from what have you stumbled upon or created that your family loves for brain healthy Thanksgiving?
They really love. Well, there's a stuffed mushroom appetizer that they really like, that we do for Thanksgiving. The green bean casserole one. There's a delicata squash with pine nuts that is pretty fabulous. And then, of course, desserts are always a favorite. So we do a crustless pumpkin pie. Sometimes I will bake the apple raspberry crisp from Rebecca Katz's website. She has a brain healthy cookbook. And so I like to make that recipe. I also have, we'll do like cinnamon walnuts or a nut brittle that are yummy to have with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something.
Oh, yeah.
So those are some of my family's probably biggest favorites.
Are all those going to be at the link, your blog site?
Yeah, I think
some of them?
all of them except for the Rebecca Katz one, which we can share separately. Because I just, the ones I put together for the blog are my own recipes that I use myself. But we can share out the link to Rebecca's great apple raspberry crumble also. Perfect.
Is it your belief that, especially kind of going back to the ideas of Alzheimer's and dementia, that life, even when fighting or living with that we can still eat amazing foods? Everything you're describing sounds amazing, but when I think about a diet versus, just finding really yummy, nutritious foods, where do you land on that whole?
Absolutely. I actually really almost despise the word diet because it has negative connotations with it. You say diet and people think of deprivation and things that are going to be bland and tasteless and and so I don't like the word diet because it also diet symbolizes that you go on and off of something. And one time, I will never forget this. I can't remember which family member, but it was probably my grandfather. Somebody had said, I'm going to die from it when he was put on a diet. Because he was just so bored and sad about the food. And so I really wish more people would think in terms of nutrition and that it's about healthy eating and it's about eating in moderation. And so, I in our house, we talk about all the time foods, sometimes foods, occasional foods, and foods we avoid, or special occasion foods. And so, absolutely, do we have ice cream? Do we have chocolate? Do we have pizza? We do have those things, but we don't have them every day. And when we have them with the healthiest, freshest, whole ingredients that we can. And so, really thinking about using fresh, amazing ingredients. Most people, I think, would be shocked at how much better food tastes when it is made with whole, fresh ingredients and it's prepared, right on the spot. And how much, if you prep ahead of time, it's really simple and easy to do. A lot of people think you have to, healthy food can't taste good. And they also think that healthy food is time consuming. And I disagree with both. Healthy food can taste amazing. In fact, I think it's better than most of the stuff you dump out of a can or a box, or you go to a chain restaurant and it's been prefabbed and just heated in their ovens. Some of the best meals you get are at restaurants who use local, whole, fresh ingredients and prepare them there.
Well, and I have to say, I don't know if our community on Facebook knows this or not, but I've actually tasted your vegetable curry soup with the crunchy veggies before they're not mushy at all. And it is so flavorful and so tasty that I didn't even miss, the chicken or beef missing from it. It was a full veggie thing. I'm an omnivore for sure, but this curry soup was perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. No, that's one of the other things is you can take a base like that soup. Yeah. And the time that I made it for you, we didn't have any meat added to it, but I'll take a base like that, and one time you can make it with shrimp, another time you can make it with chicken, the third time you could add like ground sausage or ground turkey or something and change the flavor of it and the textures of it with changing out the proteins and different things. But yeah, I really, one of the reasons people don't tend to like vegetables is because they're not preparing them correctly. They overcook them, or they're buying canned varieties, which I don't blame kids. If you served me canned varieties of vegetables, I wouldn't want to eat those either. Mushy things that are lacking color.
How did Popeye do that? Yeah. I can't believe canned spinach was ever a thing. I guess it is, though.
You're right.
This, we could go on and on, but we're going to link to some of those recipes so people can have access to them, print them, use them, try them. We'd love to get your feedback. If you're watching this after live, we still would love to see what some of your favorite Thanksgiving recipes are. Brain healthy or otherwise, just let us know. It's just kind of fun. If you do have great additions to that we could even write about, blog about, or share to our social community, we'd love for you to leave a link to something that you've tried that is proven that your family loves out there in our community. And lastly, and we'll wrap up here pretty soon, Marci, but if people want to go deeper in this subject, we started this talking about movement and exercise and community and brain activities, and then we landed on Thanksgiving and food and nutrition. But what if people want to go deeper? Do you have any resources that you could give them just to learn more about brain health?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nathan, I put together with our team a resource for people that is 7 habits for a healthy brain. It's a checklist that they can get from brainchecklist.com.
Okay.
So you want to share that with folks, they can go on there and download that and refer to that. And that will give them information on, again, these 7 habits that are good for building a healthy brain. Also, it'll talk a little bit about Alzheimer's disease, the genetics of Alzheimer's disease. You can learn, more information about that. And then always welcome questions from people, on our Facebook stream about things like we've talked about today with regards to brain health. How do you incorporate brain healthy activities into your life for your family? And also sometimes people will even send me questions on recipes. So as we're talking about Thanksgiving, if folks have questions about, my family makes this recipe and we know it's not the best for us, do you have a great substitute? I've always welcomed those as well. But the main resource, go to brainchecklist.com and you'll be able to pull down those 7 habits for a happy, healthy brain.
Sounds good. I'll link to that in both the description, and I think we've got a scroll in there across the bottom now, brainchecklist.com. And Dr. Marci Hardy, thank you so much for your time, these ideas. We've covered a lot of ground rather quick. Thank you for your personal insight and what you do to live a healthy brain lifestyle with your family. And remember, folks, there is a ton of recipe ideas for your Thanksgiving at the links in the description for this video. We hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment. What's your favorite Thanksgiving recipe? Marci, do you have any other parting thoughts for people?
No, I just always encourage people as you approach the holidays to remember to give yourself a little space, a little grace, and enjoy the time with your family because it is always all so precious for us. So, try to do the best you can to take care of yourself while you're taking care of others as well.
It's beautiful. A little space and a little grace. We'll end on that. Thank you so much, Marci.
All right. Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.